got Danny Green in the building, 3-time NBA champion, NBA All-Defensive Second Team, NCAA champ, Slovenian Cup champ.
You a champion of that?
You a champion.
I don't know if that's true. Slovenia, I played there for a little bit. It was during the lockout, but I came back.
You still got the chip.
Yeah, they might have won that one without me.
I used to tell people every time, anytime Danny Green is on your team, you gonna win. You gonna win a chip.
That's why you came to Philly. That's what you told people anyway.
Yes, that's why we was in Philly. We're gonna get into that later, but no, seriously, you had a amazing championship career, and a lot of people don't give you the credit and the flowers that you deserve for your illustrious career, but you deserve it, man.
A lot of people came on and said that was the best chemistry team they played on, but you played on.
I will say, it's tough to say, but yes, we had a great, I want to say off the floor is the most fun I've had, off the floor with that group. On the floor, we were good. We were very good too. I love the coaching staff and I love Frank to death, but we were just so deep that it was hard for guys to get rhythm sometimes because we would go 12, 13 deep.
We had so many guys.
You know what I'm saying? We were playing so many guys. It was hard. It was hard for Frank to make the decision. So that's what made it harder for us to have the best chemistry when everybody knows their rotation of minutes and is playing the same amount of minutes. It's easier to have that on the floor, but off the floor, we all respected each other. We all, knew each other from other teams or and like from afar, respected each other's craft and wanted to play. Like I got a chance to play with Doe, even though he played in Boston. With some battles with certain guys, AD, KCP, AC, Avery Bradley, Dwight, all these guys that we looked up to or admired from afar, or idolized their game. Or it was like, damn, one day I wish I could have played with this guy in his prime. I wish I could play with a prime Dwight or prime Rondo. Even Duds. Duds used to bust ass in college, bro.
Oh my God.
Boston College Duds used to bust ass. Duds was a good player. So we had, from 1 through 15, we had guys that were good. And we all respected each other and it was real like we kicked it, man. We hung out. DeMarcus Cousins, he was there. Even later, JR and Deion Waiters came. But we had a group of guys, man, that just said
very special,
fun, and just enjoyed and respected each other so much, man. It was easy off the court for us to get on. And on the court, it just made it that easy too. But on the court, I was in San Antonio. We just was on it. I was
about to say, how long was
Toronto,
that San Antonio team together?
We were together for 4 or 5 years. We were lucky enough to keep that group together. So that made it's hard to compete with that because it's hard to keep a group together for 4 or 5 years. Yeah. And we had that group together for a while, and nobody had egos. Everybody's just playing and hooping. Toronto, we only did 1 year together, but we had a good group on the court. And we had good rhythm and good chemistry. But it's hard to outbeat San Antonio guys that were together for 4 or 5 years.
So after 2020, did you feel like if y'all stayed together for 2 more years, what do you feel?
You want to know why that team's broken up?
This is a topic that comes up all the time, man. I know the Lakers fans and said you appreciate the things you had when you don't have them anymore. In the moment, I'm sure there was some critiques and criticisms, but once it was broken up, people were like, damn, why did we break that up? I think if we stayed together, I think we for sure would have got 1 more championship. People say 2 or 3.
I say 2, man.
It's very hard to go back to back, but I think we had a really good group, and we would have got 1 more.
You said you guys weren't even tired after you guys won these games. We were
so deep. We went in without. We didn't have Avery with us. We went in missing guys. We had so many guys, players that rotate. Even if it was injuries, we had guys that step up.
JaVale and Dwight split.
JaVale split minutes.
The deepest team that I feel like I was a part of.
So from your point of view, why do you think that team was broken up?
I saw JaVale said it was overthought. I think that's part of it. Ultimately, it started with not be able to pay guys fully first, right? I think Doe left because they couldn't pay him. I don't know who else got contracts. I think Alex Caruso. They had to pick between him or Talent Tucker to pay him.
Situation, yeah.
I think that's when it kind of crumbled when you let Dwight and JaVale go. Your defensive front court, and then your wing perimeter defense with KCP, Alex Caruso, and myself. I was traded because they wanted LeBron to take less off the ball.
Yeah, with Schroeder, yeah.
Which never happens. LeBron is Bron. He's going to do what he does, and he's going to be on the ball. And he's great at what he does. And he's still in year 22. He's still going to be a very good point guard. But ultimately, they were trying to give him more of a rest. So they made that trade with me. And then Dwight came. So they lost more rim protection with that. Mm-hmm. Then they traded JaVale. I don't know what happened. Why did that? They lost more rim protection.
Was for nothing too.
And then, but they were still pretty decent. But then when they traded for Russ, and you got another guy that did the same thing that Bron does, like you need more shooting. You let go of KCP, Kuz, and then Trez, but you let go of your perimeter defense and your perimeter, front court. Now you rely on AD to do both. That's a lot on him. Mind you, when his body, it goes through ups and downs sometimes.
Yeah,
Bron's only getting older, so I think it was more of trying to get LeBron more rest. And then also they weren't able to pay some guys. They had to pick and choose who they wanted to pay.
Yeah.
And that's why I think the Alex Caruso, Talon Horton-Tucker situation, because they were like, Talon's younger. You see a lot of potential in him. He could be that guy, which he was very good.
Yeah.
So I think they had to choose between, and they had to let Alex go to Chicago. They paid THT. KCP the same. I don't know if they could pay him more or not or whatever, but they wanted Russ.
I know you.
I think that part was overthinking the Russ situation. I think it was overthinking the situation.
And I know you said earlier. I know you said earlier that some people had told you that Dwight had an offer. So we spoke about that.
I mean, we obviously shared a lot when we spoke about it, and I heard his side of the story. And things can get lost in translation, and I don't know who was handling the deal. It might have been the agent's fault, but from my understanding, and I'm glad he came to Philly with us because I needed him. I needed him there. Because I got old fast. I got really old fast. In Toronto, I was like a vet. In LA, it was like everybody was kind of some guys older than me. I was a vet, but I wasn't a super vet. When I got to Philly, I was the oldest motherfucker in the locker room, and I'm like, damn, it was just me and Dwight. If Dwight wasn't there, I would have been really old, and I would have had to kind of police the locker room myself. But I had Tobias there, which helped too. But when he got there, and I was talking to Duds and everybody else, and they were like, no, they called him, they offered. He tweeted he was coming back, and they were like, yo, we offered him. And I'm like, he told me he didn't get the offer, but from other people on the other side, they told me that they did have an offer on the table.
And you said that you had to delete the tweet, right?
Yeah. I had to,
I mean, we know
I
put it out there.
Yeah, I tweeted it because I was like, I'm coming back. Yeah. And then my agent was like, man, they don't have the offer. You got to delete this tweet. And I was like, for real? I was heartbroken.
I thought maybe it was because you thought you couldn't win again there after some moves were made.
No.
And then that you were going to get more of your money in Philly than you would in LA.
That wouldn't have been. I ain't want to leave. Because I'm like, let's run it back. We got a chance to win again. Like, no.
I said you realize how great something is when you lost. Right. Yeah. So I go back to the prisons between the lines. I go into these prisons, and we hoop with them, and they're pretty good conditions. Their gyms are great. Sometimes they're not the greatest conditions. So recently we had to play outside in 102-degree weather with a double rim.
102 degrees.
So when we get a gym again, we're like, oh my God, we got a gym. Hell yeah! We're just excited to have a gym again. But when you play outside, man, a double rim's 102 degrees. You realize how special it is to have a gym. So same with the Lakers and Lakers fans. Like, man, we really missed that perimeter defense. We really missed Dwight and JaVale. And it's like, when we were there, a lot of y'all appreciated us. And shout out to those real fans. But a lot of them, still to this day, you should have made that shot. You should have did this. You should have did that. It's like, damn, can't you just say thank you?
No, the fans also, they don't realize, like, while we have what we have, they don't realize how great it is. Because I feel like you can go down the entire roster, maybe not including LeBron and AD, and every single one of those guys got you, Dwight, at one point, Kuzma got a ton, KCP got a ton, even in the finals when you guys are kicking ass and like winning games.
Markieff, like we had, you go down the line, everybody was very talented and good players, man.
So I want to ask, do you think that out of the 3 championship teams you played for, that the fan pressure in LA was by far like the most and had the biggest effect on you and also the entire team?
I saw it when Russ got there. That's when it really came to light to me. And you go to LA, when you make the decision to go there, you're like, I could play anywhere. You know what I'm saying? I've been playing through pressure. I'm ready for that stage. Like no stage is gone till you get on that stage. I'm not saying that I was fearful of it or I was scared of it. But you feel the pressures of it. And you're just like, damn, it's a lot, man. There's a lot of heat on it. And you feel like you're not yourself. You're not playing like yourself. But I really saw it, and I knew I wasn't the only one that could feel it when I saw Russ get there. And I was like,
oh my God,
he's the most confident guy I've seen in this league. Most aggressive. And if he went through it there, anybody could. I'm like, I'm not saying that it broke him, but I'm like, if this dynamic can change a player like him,
and he's from
to where he might be second guessing himself.
He's from there.
Yeah, I'm saying, like, then that shows you how big that magnifying glass is and how hard it is.
That pushes guys away, though? Do you think it like?
Yeah, I think
players
so.
are human, and they're like, well, I saw how they treated Russ. I saw how they treated.
I went through it.
Yeah. You went through it a couple times.
When I played here the first time.
I think that played a part into my decision when I went to Cleveland as well.
Second time, right?
Yeah, because it's just a lot, man. It's a lot to deal with. And
once death threats,
even though I didn't want to get traded, I would love to. I think over my time, I was like, I needed a fresh start. So I needed, a time away from it. And I was like, it's time. I did my year. It was cool. I think after another year, we'd have gotten more used to each other and we would have got even better. But I was okay with leaving because of how much it was on that organization.
That's crazy. And that sucks to hear that.
Yeah, we all had, I can understand that. And, him wanting to, because it's like an emotional decision, but you don't want to be in your emotions when you make that decision.
Try to make a logic sound business decision.
But it's like, dang, do you understand what I'm having to sacrifice and deal with, and I'm getting booed and hated on and death threats all because I'm making a decision. And they talking about because he missed that shot or we still won the championship.
I know.
We still won. I remember the year we went to the championship and played the Lakers. We lost the first game in the whole playoffs, the first game against Philly.
Yep.
One of the fans threw a clapper at me from the tunnel, almost hit me in the head because we lost the game. And I'm like, is it really that serious?
What you do?
What I do? I tried to get him.
Patrick Ewing came and grabbed me. He said, no, they got the cameras rolling. Don't do it right now. I said, all right, I got you.
In San Antonio, was it like it wasn't allowed or how was that?
You're a shell of yourself. I just feel like the best way to describe it is not in a bad way. They get the best out of you. They put you in the best positions to be great. Mm-hmm. But ultimately, they never make you feel comfortable in a sense to where you're always hungry and working hard because, they just want you to, they want to get the best out of you.
Basketball.
Yes, they want you to focus only on basketball. And they feel the best way to get something the best out of you is to kind of, in a non-direct way, put the pressure on you to know that your spot is never safe. So that you're always, every day, earning your spot. You're earning your keep. You're earning your position. Mm-hmm. I never felt like I was here in the league, you know what I'm saying? Or like I always deserved the spot, I'm entitled to a spot. And I had to work for my starting position every day that I lace my shoes up.
Do you think that now it's kind of switched a little bit because of the social media and what that provides for players and how that can help teams grow and fan bases and stuff?
It's a very different world. So everything has changed in the last 5 years.
Yeah.
And I go back to even when I was in the prisons, in that space, they're focusing more on rehabilitation than punishment. Mm-hmm. And that's because the mental health aspect of the world has been major in the last 5 years. You know what I'm saying? The world is a softer world, but it's better and more efficient. And it's, it helps players be able to communicate with coaches and vice versa and keep them in a good mental space. And be comfortable and also express what they're going through. It's not an easy game. It's not an easy life. Obviously, there's a lot of perks.
Yeah.
But there's a lot of sacrifices and there's a lot of pressures, and a lot of people go through different emotions. Depression, go crazy, but you need a healthy foundation or, outlet and escape to talk to people, to share your expressions, your feelings, to be able to, stay sane. The world is a lot different. Social media is a lot different. But, so the world is softer because of those things. But I think it makes it better to where, there's a lot less stress in these fields where, there's so much added pressure and where guys can freely speak, their feelings, their minds, and not be judged for it.
So I wanted to ask you this because you talked about the Lakers and you talked about the Spurs. So when you was what was the culture like on the Raptors? And
it was great, man. Me and Kawhi, we came from being the young guys to being vets right away because we were under Timmy, Tony, and Manu. And then when we got there, the guys was OG, Fred, Pascal, young. Kalo was the only other vet, really. Yeah. Valanciunas was there, but we ended up trading for Marc Gasol halfway through the year. We had Serge. Serge was another vet. But it was a lot of young guys and guys that had not been there or had not won it. So, it was cool though, but we had a good mix between older and younger and vets, and a good vibe where guys love to play with each other. And the city of Toronto, you know how the city is there.
Yeah, so was that the first championship in Toronto?
First and only, yeah.
First
So how was the parade? Was that the best parade?
Unbelievable, bro. Unbelievable.
It's the whole country.
It was supposed to be an hour and a half. I think it ended up being like 4 or 5 hours.
Damn.
It was like,
That's
amazing.
it might have been 6. It took a while. That's why Mark Gasol, he was really by the time he went through the sun and drinking all the champagne, 5 hours later, you'll get faded crazy.
Yeah.
Like he was
Danny
gone.
Green was dancing
because he
again
ended
like
up
he
drinking
was in
more than he
college.
expected to because the parade went 3 times as long. So it was an unbelievable event, man. Because you're representing a country, 36 million people watching every day.
Lot.
You know what I'm saying? And there's only one team in the whole country.
So you've seen Kawhi kind of transition from
Being a young guy to being a superstar,
role player to superstar, leading the team. Like, how was that seeing his growth?
Unreal. Something you could never predict.
That's what I was gonna ask. Because some people say they always seen it.
No, you couldn't see it coming. But mind you, I was younger, so I wasn't that great of a gauge of talent. Mm-hmm. Now you can see certain guys just how they carry themselves. Like, all right, he's gonna be special.
Yeah.
Looking back, if I knew that knowledge, I would be like, all right, he could have been special. But I didn't see him becoming that type of offensive threat the way he had. Like, cause he had the tools. He had big hands, wide shoulders, big body. He knew he was gonna grow into himself. I knew he'd be a defensive monster. But I didn't think he'd develop his shot that greatly. We had Chip England there who worked with him a lot, and he changed the shot to where he was non-shooter to shooting 40% from 3, and his mid-range was automatic. So when he started doing that, man, I said I never thought he'd become a really good shooter.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. So he over-exceeded everyone's expectations, including mine, and I seen him since he got drafted.
That's crazy. And me and Dwight was talking about role players that transitioned into superstars, like Harden, Jimmy Butler, Kawhi, kind of.
Was James a role player?
He's 6-man coming off the bench in OKC, so I guess it's somewhat of a role. Jimmy for sure was a role player.
It seemed like he was never a role player. He
wasn't. He was a star when he first got in, but if you didn't know, you didn't see it till he got to Houston.
Right. People didn't know.
Because he said if he never would have went to Houston, he would
I didn't see it till because when he got drafted high. He got drafted 3rd. I thought he was really good, but I'm like, there's a lot of guys that could do what he does. Like, why is he so special? And somebody told me, he's a star. And then when I seen him at OKC, I'm like, all right, I see what you're talking about. And it only just got enhanced when he got to Houston.
He in his own lane. They got stars. Yeah, they have role players.
He was a game changer. They had to change the game for
systems.
Yeah.
He is the system. What are you talking about?
I know it was that commercial, Jimmy Butler, from years ago when he was saying like he never thought he would become that.
Even when I saw him, I'm like, he looks like a hard-nosed player, but I didn't see it either at first. How they're high on him, and I'm like, the Bulls are high. I'm like, he looks good, but I'm like, why are they so high? I'm like, all right, because at the time, D Rose, they had a really good team, and I'm like, all right, and then you see it slowly but surely, him starting to come into his own and be that guy, and from there they went to Minnesota. Then he went to Philly, and he was a force to be reckoned with.
And you one of the greatest shooters in NBA.
Decent. I was
you
decent.
Like
43rd all time. What are you talking about?
Yeah, I put some years in, man. I was trying to get a couple more, but I put some years in.
That's a lot.
Do you
43 all time?
Hell yeah. Do you ever think that you could have had the chance to transition into a star?
I wouldn't say a star, but I could have been a super role player.
Super role player. I never heard of that.
Like I could have been a watered down version of Clay, if that makes sense.
Okay.
Clay is very good at what he does. A lot of people think it's not easy just being that guy, being in that role.
Yeah.
But in certain systems, certain, organizations, given the opportunity, I'm not saying I would have been a good pick and roll player, but if I was actually in a system where I was ran plays for coming up pin downs and this and that, if I was doing what JJ, JJ was a special player too. I could have been somewhat to like JJ, but JJ is very good. Clay is very good. I feel like I could have been a watered down version of those two guys.